Red over black. A car. 1976. The year of the bicentennial, my high school graduation, and college admission. I was eligible to vote and order a beer. One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest won Best Picture. Nadia Comaneci scored a perfect 10 at the Montreal Olympics. And serial killer Son of Sam shot Donna Lauria and Jodi Valenti while they sat in a dark-colored Oldsmobile on Bureau Avenue in the Bronx. Donna and I were the same age. We lived about 15 miles apart. Donna died that night double-parked in front of her home. I knew her brother. Ralph Humphrey's artwork entitled Abstract Composition 1976, drawing on paper 11 5/8 by 9 2/8 inches, is not neat. The black rectangle is uneven and frayed. The red, spread over black, pools in some spots, thins to almost transparent in others. A light. I left New York in the fall for New England foliage, freshman year, and faux freedom. I changed my major to nursing. I room with Barbara in Morgan House across from the School of Agriculture's heavily manured fields. The Supreme Court reinstated the death penalty for convicted murderers. The FDA banned food color additives, red dye number 4 and carbon black, declaring them unsafe. By winter, the serial killer had shot 6, including a young man and woman stopped at a red light in Flushing, Queens. On New York City streets, traffic signals remain red for 45 to 120 seconds. The background of Abstract Composition 1976, drawing on paper, is not pristine. Black spatter marks the canvas. Random and premeditated? A window. Summer of 77, I registered for night classes at a local community college. Changing majors has its consequences. I needed microbiology and economics. Monday through Thursday, I'd return home well after sundown. I'd pull into the driveway, switch off the engine, and run to the front door as if my legs were faster than a speeding bullet and more powerful than a locomotive. No red cape man of steel flew across the night sky in Gotham those blistering months. France used the guillotine to execute a murderer for the last time. The 25-hour blackout of 77 in New York City was dubbed Night of Terror for the rampant looting, vandalism, and violence. Arsonists set more than 1,000 fires. Police hypothesized Son of Sam was targeting young women with long dark hair. In the boroughs, they started cutting and dyeing. On July 31st, Son of Sam shot Robert Violente and blonde Stacy Moskowitz while they sat in a car parked along Shore Parkway in Brooklyn at the end of their first date. Bullets shattered glass, Robert's left eye, and part of his right. Stacy died the next day. She was 19 years old. In the abstract composition, strokes create ripples disturbing and transformative. A gun. Eager to start sophomore year and weary of the heat wave and terror wave, I began packing my big black trunk. The U.S. Senate Select Committee on Intelligence began hearings into illegal human experimentation by the CIA. In Cambodia, the Khmer Rouge under Pol Pot continued purifying the country. South Africa's security branch arrested, then tortured and murdered anti-apartheid activist Hossein Hafji while in police custody. At a press conference, New York City police announced the serial killer used the same gun at multiple shootings. Headlines began referring to Son of Sam as the .44 caliber killer for his weapon of choice. The nickname was clever. Newspapers happily sold out. On August 10th, 10 days after the last shooting, Son of Sam was identified from his parking ticket in Brooklyn and arrested. He'd maimed 10 and killed 6 between the ages of 15 and 30. After pleading guilty to 6 counts of second-degree murder and 7 counts of attempted murder, he received 6 consecutive 25 years to life sentences, the maximum allowed. The gavel banged. A parole board meets in May 2024. In abstract composition, the fiery entrance to hell yawns. Figures thrash in the red, undulating mist. It's crowded. Make room. Author's note and bio. What do the colors and shapes represent to me? Black is the larger base, the substance, whereas the red taints or colors it, whether in blood, anger, madness, or fear. At times, red overpowers, pierces black, but at other points red is restrained, failing to obliterate. Both have ragged, uneven edges. No sharp boundary defines or divides them. The separate black object can be an assault rifle, a thorny branch, a spiked club. Potentially, it can be used to attack or preserve. Here, separated from red over black, it is sadly beyond reach as a means of protection, thereby declaring its treacherous purpose. Joan Sosin lives, learns, and writes in Jacksonville, Florida. She's always been partial to fiction writing, but nonfiction is edging up. She likes to add an unexpected twist to her writing because she believes stories, fact or fancy, should entertain and surprise the reader. She's enrolled in UNF's program Learning for a Lifetime and has adopted that moniker as her personal goal. End recording.
The result of two things. The abstract composition by Ralph Humphrey is something that will immediately catch the eye of anyone who walks by it. This is a result of two things. For one, the color choices, and two, the shapes. It is so simple, yet so elegant. The colors of black will strike anyone with a certain feeling. Why that is will always be such an interesting thing to wonder. Perhaps it is because of its opposition to the positive connotations we associate with white. Maybe because it is not even technically a color at all, and is literally defined as the absence of visible light. Color meanings are different around the world depending on the culture, and yet anywhere you go, people associate black with negative things: power, death, mourning, threats, and rebellion. However, the meaning of red can vary between the positive or negative connotations around the world. I remember my anthropology teacher last year telling us something remarkably interesting. He told us and showed, through the help of a few diagrams, the color spectrum of some cultures around the world. What I saw was phenomenal. There were certain cultures with only a few colors that they recognized. They did not acknowledge purple, yellow, or orange, sometimes just blue, green, and red, or sometimes just blue and red. If it was in certain colors, it was as if certain colors were just extensions of others, and they blended as one. For example, purple was just blue. However, there was one constant that my professor pointed out. That was red. He pointed out that no matter where you go, red is a universal color that every culture and person recognizes and accepts. If my memory serves well, I believe he said it has something to do with the brain, that red induces the most signals to go off in your brain when you see it. Because of these two striking colors contrasting each other, I cannot help but feel something the moment I see it. The shapes are important to note as well. Two vertical rectangles, the red one smaller and inside the black one, or you could even say the red one is surrounded by the black one. Then you have a line beneath the rectangles. What could this be? Perhaps it is just a line, or perhaps it is another rectangle turned horizontally. Even more specific, it is the exact thing pictured above turned sideways. Maybe this will change the perception of the painting. Do we see or feel the same thing when our view of the rectangle is obscured? Now I think I would like to share my own insight into what I see when I look at this composition. A few months back, I saw the film Insidious, the Red Door, and of course the imagery from that film will come to mind as it very closely resembles the door that is painted by one of the characters. Although the film itself was not good, I still think it is important to think about the meaning of the red door in the film. The red door is surrounded by darkness, and this invokes fear in the characters and the audience about what the door leads to and what is behind it. Maybe not often together, but separately, doors in red are very common motifs in horror films. Another thing that immediately came to mind from a film standpoint was the mysterious black monolith from the film 2001: A Space Odyssey. This was also a giant vertical rectangle that gives you the same horrifying and eerie feeling when you see it on screen. Lastly, when I see the work, and I start to feel the threat and fear that the black and red color combination invokes, I think of one primary example. Something that came to mind upon seeing this work, as a student of history and a World War II enthusiast, was the uniforms of the SS, or the Schutzstaffel military group. This was, in simple terms, a separate entity from the German army and a private military for Adolf Hitler and the Nazi Party. The soldiers of the SS were responsible for the operation of the death camps and committed additional unspeakable acts. What were the primary uniforms of the SS during World War II? All black leather cotton with a standout red armband that highlighted the swastika. The purpose of these colors is obvious: to spread and invoke fear to anyone who sees it. Now, this piece was done in the late 1970s, so perhaps this could be associated with the Soviet Union, communism, or the infamous Red Scare here in America. Whatever the case may be, it sends strong signals to anyone who sees this work. Perhaps a warning, a caution, or a sign. Author's note. My name is Nicholas Boyd. I am a sophomore at the University of North Florida studying history. Naturally, my own personal knowledge and love for history played into how I perceive this work. I chose to write a mini interpretation of what I see in this work, as I thought this small piece, a very simple piece, could mean so much and be looked at in so many ways that it would be an interesting work to explore.